Chinese authorities are again shaking the confidence of foreign companies in the country with a series of arrests across industries and an investigation into Foxconn Technology Group, Apple Inc.'s most important partner and one of the largest employers in China. Over the weekend, state media said that regulators are conducting tax audits and reviewing land use by Foxconn, the Taiwanese company that makes the vast majority of iPhones at factories in China. After similar crackdowns on the likes of Alibaba, are China's actions motivated by Foxconn's dealings with the Indian government? Sharad Kohli is joining us on the broadcast, economist. Sharad Kohli, what do you make of these developments which are playing out in China? Again, it seems that this is, eerily similar to what happened with Alibaba.
Well, Uday, good afternoon to NewsX viewers. First of all, I think this is, the underlying reason is also a hard burn. I pity Foxconn because Foxconn, ever since it started the production of iPhones in India, I think it has been given sleepless nights to China because Foxconn was primarily, or iPhone, shall I say, were primarily being manufactured in China, and it had with the factories starting to, especially to India. I think it is causing a heartburn, and Foxconn consequently is becoming a victim to that heartburn. I mean, it has launched this tax audit investigation. I think China is getting into a habit of troubling businessmen, shall I say, or troubling companies. Most of the tech companies have been troubled there, whether it was Tesla, and we saw the Chinese government giving directions to its officials not to use iPhone. So I think, and it's Cold War going on with America, and it obviously knows that Foxconn is making an American phone. So obviously, this is coming out of the ire for America, and there is a Cold War now, which is in the open as far as America is concerned. And then to add to that, the Indian heartburn, as I said, for Foxconn setting up a factory in India. And as far as the tech sector, Uday, in China is concerned, I must say that most of the tech companies have been victims of the Chinese government. Sometimes it wants the directors to get on the board. It wants to meddle in the affairs of running a company, which is never the case anywhere in the world. Sometimes it wants to put its own, decisions on the company. Forget about the foreigners, forget about the foreign companies, Uday. We have seen some of the local businessmen who grew big in China. Jack Ma is a classic example, as you referred to, about Alibaba. He's gone into oblivion. He disappears, he comes back, he disappears. His IPO was blocked. His company has been shaken, has been brought down. You don't have a right to become rich in China. You don't have a right to being successful in China. I think that is what Chinese government is up to. And I think the brand which China had built over the last 3 decades is gradually fading away. And I think this is what it does to foreign companies. This is what it does to businessmen. This is what it does to overseas companies. I think it's only a matter of time when companies are already thinking of decoupling from China. The China plus one policy is out on the table for most of the boards of the companies. I think it's a matter of time because whatever remains of foreign companies in China are also going to gradually disappear from there. So I think China must, look into this. It should give insights into its policy towards the foreign companies. Otherwise, it will find this process to be speeding up sooner than it had imagined today.
Sanjay Rana, international affairs expert, is also joining us live. Sanjay Rana, many believe that this could possibly be because of Foxconn's work in India. What do you make of this crackdown and these developments that are coming to light from China?
Hi, good afternoon to you. Good afternoon to my panelists, those who are there on this channel. Absolutely right, and they have been traveling to all the foreign companies, those who are operating in China. Whether a few months back, if you look at the example of somewhere in March, they have done similar kind of things with the Japanese company. Obviously, they are targeting at this point of time iPhone. Because and last week, Mr. CEO of Apple met the Commerce Minister of China. In spite of that, these kind of raids are happening, and they're not telling the reason behind it. Is if any company, those who are operating in China, is moving out, they have any intent to move out, and they have any intent to work with other countries they are targeting, whether it's Tesla, whether it's Apple, whether it's Japanese company. We take it any organization. I'm not talking about their local organization. I'm talking about the company, those who are operating global company, operating and manufacturing and things in China. Somewhere, somehow they are just focusing and they are hampering because it's not easy to move out from manufacturing. You need to make manufacturing to move out immediately. It takes time. It takes years to do the establishment from A to B. And if you look at, especially I'm talking about iPhone, why? Because iPhone 15 specifically are manufactured in India, and Foxconn is also working with the Indian government and establishing their operation in India. So somewhere, somehow, if you look at the Chinese manufacturing units are trying to move out from the China. So the government over there is trying to make them their life. I would not say making their life easy. They are trying to create a problem so they cannot operate. If you look at, obviously, CEO of Apple visited last week, as I mentioned. These kind of things are happening. This is really, really alarming for those who are operating in China. So for the companies, those who've been working in China doing manufacturing, they need to think twice before establishing their operation or establishing their organization within China for any kind of manufacturing. Yes. This is there's two things we need to look at. One is the industrial, and another one is the political. So somewhere, somehow, political scenario. If you look at the Communist Party of China, is absolutely they are in bad shape at this point of time. Their growths are not as per the expectations. Somewhere, somehow, things are not in their control. So they want to make the things under the control. That's why these kind of raids are happening. Obviously, if any companies are doing any kind of irregularity as per land of law, obviously any government can take any action, but they are not acknowledging why they are doing the raid. What's the reason behind it? Similar kind of raids happened last 6-7 months with all those especially for U.S. companies, Japanese companies, your Korean companies, and other countries, those who are doing manufacturing. So it's very targeted approach. They are taking very targeted approach. They are taking very systematic approach. They are strategic approach to pressurize the industries, those who are operating. So it's time for I would say for the world to think and how they need to move out from this China operating system, I would say. So they need to think twice, and they will face similar kind of I would say raid, a similar kind of pressure tactics. They have to face day in, day out, because if you are thinking to move out, if you're thinking beyond China, then you are ready to face the consequences the way they are right now. Foxconn is facing. So this is my observation, Uday, and really for the CEOs and for the big organization, global, those who are operating globally need to think before investing anything in China. Since China is always believe in pressure tactics, and they are applying their pressure tactics on the industrialists, whether it's a domestic or their international partners.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.